Goose Chasers. We're back, baby. Went on a little hiatus. Dino was hiding in his bean bush.
I was hiding in the beans, and yeah, sometimes I gotta go in there.
You know, that cold front, it's here, man. The first cold front in October finally got here. I mean, bucks are going down. You see that buck that Ben killed the other day?
My goodness.
Holy shit. I mean, that's a giant. That's like a prehistoric,
It's a
like,
gargantuan.
not real giant buck. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Ben Rising from Whitetail Edge, one of our fellow confidants and a fellow brother, bow hunting brother, and well, we used to produce his show, so we got pretty close with him over the last handful of years, but my goodness, he killed.
You don't have anything else to say about him. You're like, every year, you're like, God, he's so good. He's so good. And then he just does it again. You're like, well,
I mean, you look at all like the heavy hitters in the whitetail world specifically, you know, the juries, obviously their name speaks for themselves. Lee and Tiffany, name speaks for themselves. Waddell, I mean, all these people are going like, I feel like the juries are hunting their own farms a lot, which is fine.
amazing.
Same thing with Lee and Tiffany. They're hunting their own farms, at least for whitetail specifically, a lot. They're not like going out and charting new territory. You know, the Waddells, like they're popping around from outfitters, I'm not like saying that any of these people are bad hunters by any means, but that dude will get a piece of ground that he has never stepped foot on before, and he will go in and kill the biggest deer on that piece of ground. Better than anyone that I know. I mean, there's no if, yeah, there's no if, ands, or buts. I mean, the buck that he killed last year, Scissors, literally a piece of ground that he had never stepped foot on before. Got aerial photos of it a couple days prior. This buck was a ghost to the property owner and all of the neighbors. Nobody could get in front of this deer, and he killed them in 2.5 days.
That's out of control.
Like, that's crazy. And now this friggin' deer that he just killed is well into the 200 inches. Free range, free roaming whitetail in Illinois. On, I think, on one of his pieces of ground, or it's one of his leases or something. I don't know the exact.
I think it's on the piece he owns now, but it's not like he's owned it for 30 years. He's
owned it for
new.
a couple. Yeah, 2 years, maybe 3 years. But my goodness, what a giant. I mean, and it's October. It's the first week in October. Like, man, unreal.
He just knows the time to go in. He knows the deer. He said before, he's like, I just have a knack for like getting in the deer's head. And I've felt like that on certain points. At least I thought at least I feel like I've felt like that.
Well,
you
probably have.
I think he actually feels that.
Is in his
Like,
head, like, can
yeah,
predict what he's gonna do.
Yeah, not just saying that. Like, he's actually in there.
Well, and he does a phenomenal job of, like, reading the land, you know, basically going from a map to the actual land. Like, he does an awesome job of picking out points, terrain, whatever, anything that's going to channel the deer to a certain area. And then based on his trail cameras, he knows the damn deer.
He knows the damn deer. And he just
I heard that.
Gosh, damn it. What the hell happened?
Well, you can just change it and we could talk, because we'll just use this too.
He knows deer in general very well. I know deer are individuals, so they're all different. But the guy has grown up. I mean, he's been cutting timber and been working in the woods his entire life.
Yeah, his whole
He
life.
is just a nature man.
But you can imagine think about, and I feel like I know deer and the deer tendencies fairly well, not even remotely close to his level. But as a hunter, like I'm pretty confident in going into a certain area. It may take weeks, months at a time or whatever, but I'm pretty confident at going into a certain area and doing homework, setting up shop and not figuring the deer out per se, but being able to kill like a mature deer, a solid buck. But and I think about that as me and my experience in the woods and how much time that I've spent in the woods and how much more time he's spent in the woods and understanding or thinking about what what where his head is at, like what he's thinking and what he knows compared to what I know essentially. And the advancement of that and going into the woods with that knowledge every year is kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is.
But I mean, he kills them consistently, multiple states, consistently every single year. And I think he's one of the few in the hunting world that can say that and say that they document it and actually show how it's getting done. And for that reason, he's one of the goats, in my opinion.
He is the GOAT. I mean, and on top of that, a lot of the, not every time, but a lot of times he's doing this self-filmed, which I know we've talked enough. We've talked a lot about self-filming, but doing what he does in general is insane. And then you add self-filming to that is another level.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine
He's like,
staying composed during a hunt with that deer walking into bow range, just staying composed enough to make a good shot, let alone document the whole thing. I mean, it's insane.
he's the full package, man. He's like Shohei Ohtani, man. He can throw 105 miles an hour, 13 strikeouts, and then, go whack a couple of grand slams.
That's exactly right. We're gonna start calling him Otani.
Shohei.
Hey, Ben Otani.
Hey, Shohei, show me the way.
Ben Otani rising. Ben Otani rising.
Shit.
But that first October cold front, man, Mark Drury says the same shit. You got to get in the bush. It gets cold. You got to get in there. Get in there.
He says cold October winds are fatal for the
something,
whitetail.
something special. There is a lot of deer. I mean, over social media this weekend, a lot of deer were definitely harpooned.
Yeah.
You could see that. But I mean, 20-degree temperature drops across most of the 48 continental United States will provide that for you.
Certainly will. Yeah, it was yeah. Definitely a massive drop. We had weeks of 80-degree dry temperatures and then that happened. So if you were on the deer, like if you had your bucks, if you had them on camera or you were just felt close, then the cold front definitely did it. But a lot of our current situations we're just not close at the moment. That's okay.
I mean, maybe not right at the moment, but our cameras are starting to light up and there's a hell of a lot more daylight activity. Like just even observe like the does and stuff. I mean, right now the cameras are blowing up. There's there's deer all over the fields up in New York. There's deer in Ohio that are moving already. I mean, down here in Tennessee on the new lease that I got, there was deer all over the cameras on the this morning, at the last 2 or 3 mornings. So that movement is gonna warrant better things for the near future.
100%.
So
already had a couple newer bucks, just different bucks, whether they're big or small. Just you get a couple new bucks popping up on camera over the last couple of nights, and it's just getting to that time. There's a big there's a lot of things that change in the whitetail world, literally from, I would say, beginning of September, when your like cameras go dead and the bucks are shedding. And a lot of times they don't even necessarily move. They're just going to like be weird with themselves, and they're shedding, and they're like or they're hitting the acorns hard, and you just kind of see them disappear for a little bit. Now, and you'll see some new bucks pop up at that time for sure. But now is when I think you see really like that middle October is when you see the bucks really start to establish their rut core, their
Yeah.
rutting
Well,
grounds.
and now, I mean, we've transitioned a lot of our trail cameras to scrapes now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of those scrapes are still on food sources. So you try and, get the best of both worlds where you're positioning the camera in a spot where the background view is food, is on a
Yeah.
food plot or whatever. And so you kind of kill two birds with one stone there. But now is very important to have your trail cameras or start shifting your trail cameras to scrapes, because as much as these bucks are packing on food and packing on pounds, their ranges are starting to expand a little bit, and you're going to start to learn which bucks are coming into your area or are hanging out and starting to communicate. And if you've got a buck that starts to consistently check a scrape or work a scrape, you need to start monitoring that pretty heavily, because the closer that activity comes to daylight, or if it is daylight, you've got to go. Like, next good wind, go. If it's cold, if there's a cold front, the wind is moving, whatever, go.
Go sit it.
Stop waiting for the perfect time in November when everybody thinks they're going to get a 200-incher running over the hills, chasing 75 doe right into their lap. If you've got something on camera that's telling you to go hunt it and telling you that it's killable, then go do it. Go do it.
We say this all the time. You like can't wait for the rut.
You
But
wanna wait for the rut to hunt every year. Like, that's the time you want to hunt, obviously. Like, it's exciting.
But it's gone in a blink of an eye.
Yep.
It's like that October 25th comes up and you're like, yeah, this is it. The rut is just about to break wide open. And then literally you blink your eye and it's November 15th and you're like,
man, is it petering out?
Is it petering out or is it still going? And then you get a flurry of activity like a week later and then it starts petering out.
And then you're done.
And then you're hitting food sources again.
Because, like, the rut is so dependent on the does in your area. Like,
100%.
it's not, just because it's November doesn't mean the deer in your area are rutting. It just doesn't. Like, it's so area dependent. And when you recognize the change in activity or the change in chasing, you're seeing, whether it's observing when you're in the stand or you're seeing stuff on trail camera, when you recognize that the going's getting good, go and hunt, like, right friggin' now. Like, go hunt, take your days off, take the time, put it in the woods. That's when you need to go, because that's when it's telling you. Because if you could be a couple days off from that and you're too late. You're too late. Because think about it. If you've got whatever, a family group of 5, 7, 10 does on your property, that buck run, or a handful of bucks run through those doe, and say they all come into estrus right around the same time, 4th of November, 5th of November, whatever. Those bucks run through those doe, and now after whatever, 5 to 7 days, that's done. That's done.
Maybe, and they still have that drive to fill, so they're going to go look for it elsewhere.
Yeah, they're going somewhere else. So that buck is not going to be he's going to be rutting still, but it's not going to be in your area, or not there. Yeah, you may have property a mile down the road that he hits up and goes and starts chewing on some doe over there. But then you're kind of waiting for and hoping that, okay, maybe one or two of those doe didn't get bred through their first cycle, and later in November, second cycle comes around and they're going to be hot again.
Super hot. Dad and I were talking about this in the blind because he just read an article, that talked about predicting an early rut and this and that. And I was like, if you think about it, I've heard Grant Woods, other biologists too, say this. There's no such thing as an early rut. Like, if over the course of years of data, a certain percentage of doe, the bulk percentage of doe, come into estrus. I don't even remember, but it's like November 5th through the 15th or something like that. Don't quote me, but it's like a 10 to 12 day stretch where 50% of the doe are in that window across the whitetails range. I understand when you go south and stuff, it gets later, but from where we are, and it's the same time every year. Grant Woods has talked about this. It's not like, oh, this year in the end of October, all the doe are. It's just like you said, if that happens, it's all area dependent. It's like this
100%.
specific little, and it's not even like this county it happened. It's literally like, oh no, this 100-acre property by chance, whatever, 30% of the does are coming in at the end of October, and that's going to cause a rut flurry, and it's going to make it seem like the rut is full on out.
Yeah.
On that, like right in that spot. And then like you said, it's going to die off a little bit. So you're going to be like, oh, like whoever's hunting that property or those areas is going to be like,
rut's not on.
Well, yeah, it was an early rut this year. It was that right there,
Yeah.
But those bucks, it's crazy. We see the mature bucks, and I've noticed this we've noticed this in any state, but I noticed this in New York specifically. They're going to rut until that freaking last doe is bred.
Oh, yeah.
They are, because we'll go periods at the tail end of November, even first part of December, and you're like, man, where did the bucks go? Like, you're not seeing them anymore. And then all of a sudden, you're driving around or something, and you'll see a big buck just friggin' pinned on a doe.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's locked on. He's breeding it right now.
I mean, Sventech, the original Sventech, what was that, December 7th?
7th, and he was locked.
He was locked. I mean,
yeah.
it got him killed.
He was stupid, yeah. And that's crazy. In our eyes at that point, the rut was, I mean, I wouldn't say long gone, but it felt like it was long gone at that point.
Oh, for sure. Well, and think about it too. Think about Sventech Jr. and The Godfather. It was November 20th. It was the 2 days before Thanksgiving. You shot Sventech Jr. The year after, was it the year? Yeah, it was the year after you shot Sventech, which we were seeing rut activity on December 7th. November 20th, that deer came into the field. He was breeding a doe. Like the doe that came into the field, they were in the middle of breeding. They were just eating for a second because
they might have been after their first phase of breeding, and they hang with them for a while.
Right. You shot that deer. The doe, we're in it's a whiteout. I mean, there's 1.5 feet of snow. We're in the blind, so we have black hoodies on. Dean shoots this deer. We go out to recover him in the broad daylight, and that doe got run in and out of that field probably 4 different times by 3 or 4 different bucks that you hadn't even seen while you were hunting.
No.
She was just hot.
And they knew.
And they knew. And then the next day, when I shot the Godfather, that deer was pinned on a doe with 2 to 3 other bucks. And after I shot him, both bucks bred the doe, and we watched them that he was with. And that's how we knew that we got him, because
he didn't come out and breed.
He didn't come out and chase those other bucks off or whatever. They were breeding the doe. But that was, I guess my point is, that was November 20th. So everybody harps on, the first part of November, whatever. Like, we're experiencing the second cycle there from November 20th through December 7th in a 2-year window.
Yeah.
Like you said, if they're hot, the bucks are going to be working.
Yeah, they're not going to be like, you know what?
I'm good.
I'm not in the mood tonight.
Yeah. They're never not.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait another 12 months for
I'm
this.
a little tired. I'm a little
tired. I'd rather have a bean, go eat on, go lay down on another hemlock.
Watch a nice movie and relax. Maybe cuddle.
I'm just not in the mood.
No. Nah. That's also why over the next couple weeks, you're going to start seeing a lot more daylight and specifically morning buck activity, because they're going to be going from scrape to scrape. They're going to be starting to communicate with their compadres, and they're going to be actively seeking that first one because they want to be the first one.
Yeah.
They all do. They want to be the first one, especially any bucks that have a couple years under their belt.
They're ready to get their tool out of the toolbox and friggin' put it to use.
Sharpen that thing.
That thing's been friggin' in its sling for 11 months.
Starting to collect cobwebs.
Yeah.
Dust them off, baby.
Blow the pipes out.
Clear the old pipes. Give it the onions. So, yeah, I mean, the next couple weeks are going to be exciting, but as you said, don't wish the time away. It's the season goes far too fast. We wait far too long for this time of year. Soak it up. Enjoy every minute of it, whether you're hunting, not hunting, watching cameras, whatever. Just enjoy it and let it ride, baby. Stay where your feet are.
Stay where your feet are. Get ready for every day. Yeah, because when you get that November 4th day when shit's just hitting the fan, there's bucks running everywhere and there's does chasing, you can't, you got to just soak in that moment, because in your mind you're thinking, oh, it's only November 4th. But what you really should be thinking is, it's happening right now.
You got to soak this in. That's why when you get those days like that where you're seeing whether bucks cruising or you got a hot doe around you and just shit's happening, don't leave.
Hopefully you packed a sandwich or a granola bar.
Or hopefully you're just good at fasting, because you shouldn't leave.
Don't leave. And if you do leave, get back in there soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get back in there soon.
Isn't it crazy that how much time and preparation goes into the season? And there's obviously so many parts of the season that we enjoy throughout the season, but ultimately it's for like seconds or minutes of just euphoric emotion. Isn't that crazy?
It is wild.
And obviously you ride that, you ride the high of successfully harvesting something. You ride that for a while after,
yeah.
But ultimately, that heightened state of emotion, that freaking in the moment, just that's seconds. It's seconds. I mean, it's just it's so crazy. It's so crazy what we build ourselves up for.
Especially, a state like Ohio, you get one buck tag. So many people will tag out opening day, and that's amazing. But holy shit, you just spent all summer batteries and trail cameras, checking stuff, putting mineral out, brush hogging, all this stuff, and then within 2 hours you're done.
You're done. And it's good to have that tag filled, but if you're only hunting one state,
now you're just
grab a buddy. Grab a buddy
and grab a
teach
camera.
Someone. I mean, that's, I guess, the moral of the story. Go teach somebody how to do it. And that's good too. It's very rewarding as well. I love seeing new people getting involved, and I've been on a lot of first deer kills, and I'm grateful for that, because that's a eye-opening experience for not only the person behind the weapon, but for the ones that they're with.
100%.
So maybe it's not so bad to tag out first day of the season. Damn, I should have thought about that. I had my chance.
I forgot to hunt.
It is crazy too, though. I did not hunt. The only opening day that I've hunted so far is North Dakota. I did not hunt Tennessee, not Ohio, not New York. How about that?
How about that?
What does that do for your fucking loins?
Yeah, I did. Well, New York, hunted New York just to enjoy it. Wasn't really after anything in particular.
Craziness. What do you this week? Okay, this upcoming week, you're trying to kill a buck. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the number one? What is the first thing you're doing? Let's just say, let's just say you're starting from scratch. Okay. You got a piece of property that you normally hunt for the year. You've been there maybe a couple times. You got a camera out ish, but you're basically like going in to start your season. What are you doing?
I'm throwing my book bag on with probably, if you have them available, 2-3 cameras.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to pick whether it's either raining or just a nice breezy day, just something to
Mask the
mask
movement.
the noise. And I'm just putting boots on the ground and I'm walking.
But what are you looking for?
A scrape, fresh scrape. That's probably the biggest thing is a scrape. It depends on what state you're at. So like in New York right now, I would probably be looking for a scrape under or near an apple tree spot. The deer like to scrape on those apple trees for one.
They do.
And number two, we just have a crazy apple crop this year. It's just like the acorns. If they're there, they're there. But you get those deer spending some time under those trees right now. And it's sometimes we get apples to last like into November, maybe through November, but a lot of times they'll drop early and then you get them basically through this month and then most of them are gone.
Well, it's a hot commodity, so
Yeah, that's what it's even what the deer we've observed right now. Like that's what they're going to. And I see them here in Ohio too. We have, at least up in Northeast Ohio, we have a crazy apple crop. If like the deer, if you got an apple tree nearby, that's what they want to eat first. It's easy for them to eat. They're probably so sweet and taste good. And it's just the flavor of the month. They don't get that food every day of the year. So, but I think the biggest thing is if you know certain properties, we know where scrapes pop up. So you want to target those areas first because a lot of bucks, generational bucks, just deer in general, they know to hit those spots for whatever reason. They're
communication stations.
Yeah, those elders teach them, and or they can just smell the scent and they naturally go to those spots. And most of the time, year after year, scrapes pop up in the same spot every year. So I just target those spots. It's always nice when you find like a nice, fresh, big scrape and you're like, man, something's working this. And I just like to put a camera on it to see what's working it. But if you're just a general bow hunter and you want to just use the sign of the land, then if it looks like it's a big, fresh scrape that's been worked recently, I would just sit on it, sit on the downwind side of it. You're usually going to see the trail they're working it. And that's like I said, like we talked about, the next 2 weeks, that's what the deer are using right now. Like they're basically going to go from communication tree to communication tree.
Yeah. Or that's where you're going to be able to get the most information, especially with trail cameras when you're not in there visibly being able to observe them yourself. That's where, you're going to get the most information from those scrapes, because if it's on a food source, and you get a mystery buck that pops up, he could just be cruising through, and maybe he doesn't, like, in a couple weeks, he doesn't have a reason to hit that food source anymore. But if there's a scrape near the food source, more than likely he's going to hit that again, as opposed to utilizing the food source, especially the closer we get to November. Because it's going to be less emphasis on the bellies and more emphasis on the old penile erection.
Oh yeah. I also am definitely having some sort of preorbital in my pocket or in my bag.
Okay.
And probably at this time it's just I just like a straight doe urine, nothing, no estrus.
Yeah.
Just a doe urine. But definitely a preorbital, just to rejuvenate that scrape a little bit, and just let, at minimum, what you can do is if there's a buck using that scrape a lot, you can just let them know that someone else was here, and you're going to have to work for your punani.
You don't have to work for this ass.
You have to work for that ass. And then if most of the time that will make them, like, they know, oh man, I got to check this more often. I got to check it in daylight. I can't be, not necessarily I have to check it in daylight, but I just have to check it more often, which oftentimes leads to an overlap of daylight, which you could be there at that time.
Or you don't have to be.
There you go. If there's a dominant buck in the area and he just knows he has no competition, he can just sit back and breed his does. Or,
easy ass is not always the funnest ass.
No, sometimes you got to work for that.
Sometimes you like to work for that ass. It's human nature.
He's just Netflix and chilling, and you need to be Netflix and grilling.
He wants to be out on that. He wants to be out on the town, checking out what he's got. Who's out there? Who's going to make him? Who's going to dangle a carrot? And then who's going to make him chase it a little bit? Come on, chase that carrot, big dog.
Oh, big dog.
Come on, chase that carrot.
Come on with the carrots.
Oh, it's an exciting time of year, though. It really is. It's cooling down. This cold front just has me fired up. I mean, it just gets you like more alive. You're just like, wow, okay, things are cooling down. I got to start getting active. I got to start gathering my nuts. Winter's coming. So I got to gather my nuts. I got to make sure, we got enough stock for the winter. And I got to do other things. I got to be more active. I got to get out there. It just makes you feel good. I don't know why.
The glands in my forehead are realizing that the sunlight time per day is decreasing, and it's making my testosterone go through the roof.
Oh,
therefore, shit. I wake up with morning wood more often in the fall than I do at any other time.
And when you got that morning wood going, you got to take care of it. So you go. So your nose leads you to the closest, freshest
carrot,
softest
carrot,
wettest
carrot,
stankiest. Gosh damn it, that's good stuff. Just like humans. I mean, it's nature. It's a natural thing. We were put on this earth to procreate. There's nothing that stops us in our head or in our heart that doesn't want us to,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine being what if humans only bred in like the end of October through November? Like, it would be a shit show.
Oh my God, dude. You wonder why you find bucks dead and their necks are broken and like they got one eye
Pierced in the
hanging out of their
side.
fucking yeah. They got a G2 sticking out of their right ham. Like fuck.
They'll literally die for it. There's certain times, in that peak of November, that buck is just dogging a doe, and you're like, he just went right through my wind. He can see me in the tree. I was
Yeah.
shaking like I had dropped an arrow, and like he looks right up, and he just like, I got a doe right here
I gotta get
that's
this ass.
ready. And
Yeah.
normally they're into the next county if that happens. But
This
they're
this
literally like, I'll die for this.
yeah,
This is
this
my life. I don't care what you're firing at me.
Yeah, you
I will die for this.
take your best shot. I'm betting on me ducking that arrow, motherfucker. You ain't got shit. But I tell you one thing I ain't gonna do. I ain't gonna leave this ass.
I've
That's
been
what I
waiting
ain't
all
gonna
year
do.
for this.
That is crazy to think about. It would be a shit show. There would be people friggin' getting thrown off buildings and just run over by cars and just shit would be happening left and right.
You got your boys that you've been hanging with all summer, you've been going out with and hitting the friggin' lake life on the weekends, and all of a sudden you guys just hate each other.
Hate each other. You literally just fucking G2'd that your buddy Brian right in the fucking ass because you were like, Heather's smelling good. You better get your fucking shit out of here.
I will literally fight you for her.
We'll fight you.
I'll fight you to my death for her.
Fight you for Heather. I want Heather. It's crazy, dude. It was crazy to think about that. Like you and me wouldn't be friends right now. We just wouldn't be friends. We
No.
wouldn't even be brothers. We wouldn't even be brothers. The blood would just go out the window.
In no way, people wouldn't be married because like you're not gonna get married, but then only pork in November.
Right, because and think about it. You're literally reliant on your nose to tell you what chicks are ready to pork and what ones aren't. So,
Yeah,
I mean, think about the stamina you have to have because you're just following your nose until you get that one smell that gives you a boner.
and then they have to accept you in a lot of ways. So you just
Right.
chase them. You just
Right.
chase them until they either
You got
deny you or accept you.
and you like
Submiss.
you wonder like do the Bucks do they have game, you know? Like do
Yeah,
they go up to Heather and they're like, "Heather, man, your freaking ass looks so good in that fur. I just want
yeah,
to
like
ride that into the
yeah, like
sunset, sweetheart."
like your facial coat is like just the most beaming, glowing facial
Yeah.
coat I've ever seen.
Off of the
Your
dew that's coming off of those beans and off of the sunlight that's hitting that dew on those beans, your face just looks like something that I want to
your eyelashes are
chase.
just I mean, have you seen those some of them though with the freaking massive eyelashes?
Oh man,
Do you
they got to be
think
sought
do you
after.
think that has anything to do with a buck's attractiveness to it, or is it solely just the way she smells? Is he like, I don't care what that doe looks like? Like she's got a mangy ass coat, but I'm getting it.
She's a little thin in the drawers. She's kind of, there's not a lot of junk in that trunk.
Do you think bucks are do you think are they thinking in their head like I need to breed as many does as I can in a month, or are they more thinking quality? Like I just want
The
the doe.
matriarch. Yeah, the
Like
matriarch.
I'm gonna get the matriarch and then I'm gonna breed her for like 3 days. I'm gonna
And then
friggin'
and then
I'm
after
getting
that,
and
I'm
I'm
finding
getting
her
all
sister because her
yeah.
sister's hot as fuck. And I'm getting her for like
Like
4
3
days.
yeah. We're shacking up at, frickin' motel freaking Witch Hazel, and we're gonna freaking hole up in there for 4 days. We're not gonna eat anything. We're just
Motel
gonna
hemlocks.
we're motel hemlocks. I'm not gonna let her eat anything. We're just gonna pork for 4 days, and then I'm gonna kick her to the curb. I wonder.
Yeah. I think it's buck dependent, honestly. I think it's personality. Just like you
Yeah,
see
like
some bucks.
how many bucks only breed the doe one time? Because I feel like I've seen a buck chase a doe, breed her, and then like they're gone. They just like part ways. But then you've
Yeah.
definitely seen them like breed and then they'll bed down together for like
Yeah.
a while, and then they
Mix
get
each
up
other.
and they're just kind of like they're in that really like calm euphoric stage, and
Yeah.
they're definitely gonna do it again.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just like walking around the kitchen, like scratching your belly looking for a sandwich. Like you can get a little bit
You
more
are
fuel and you
you
go
are
back
in
at it.
you are screwed, honey. Like, but why? Why does what causes that factor? Like, is he like, man, I was out of energy the first time we did it, and I have to be honest, darling, I might have fired a blank. So
Well, yeah, exactly. And then what makes him leave? You know, like when is he's busting nuts, and then until when? Until
until like,
he's
can
like,
they
"Oh,
sense?
ah!" She's
Can they
definitely
sense?
pregnant after that
Yeah,
one.
can they sense like, oh, I got her good that one. We gotta move on.
I coated the insides on
Or
that
is she
sucker.
like, does she like tap out? Is she like, no,
You got me,
you
honey.
you got me on that one.
I'm full.
I'm I'm done. I gotta go refine my fawns that you freaking scared away, and they're scared half to death.
Yeah, they're hiding under a hemlock somewhere, just shaking. That's a
You know,
good
it's
question. I mean, it seems like one time should be enough, like kind of like humans.
but sometimes it's not.
But yeah, I guess you're right. Sometimes it's not. So it's
And then
like,
there's the
okay,
whole other process of, yeah, like they say those kick their fawns out when they're ready to breed, but they definitely find them again. 100%.
oh yeah,
Late season, they're always it's a doe come out in the food plot with two
check back.
fawns.
Yeah, yeah, they
So
definitely find them again. And then two is there's the question is, does the doe accept the buck? You know, like
yeah.
maybe that's why she's running. She's like, Fred, fucking Fred missed my ass fucking twice last year. I'm not-
Fred fires blanks. Get
Fred,
this
yeah.
asshole off me. Uh,
Oh shit! But I mean,
you
really,
they definitely like choose a little bit because you see the little bucks chase them around, and the does are
yeah, the
like
does are
not
like
having it.
no, right, right.
No, they want that majestic tool,
They want that. They want that 4-year-old dick.
the 4-year-old tool. Yeah,
Break that thing
it's a
out, boy. I
wild,
know that
it's a
thing's
wild,
been used before.
it's a wild lifestyle, and you can knock on us for talking about it, but it's all this happens.
This is real shit. This is real shit. Just because we're saying it, don't mean it ain't true.
This is natural circle of life.
Well, and that's why, like, people talk about the second rut, the whatever, this, that. If a doe doesn't get bred, she's gonna cycle again, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna cycle again. So
Yep.
as long as she's cycling, it could be fucking June. If he smells something, I don't know. Maybe not in June because they got, the whatever. The testosterone is like low, but
He can't even work himself up.
I mean, I feel like I've had low testosterone a couple times in my life, and shit, well, when shit hits the fan, I mean,
It's
fucking
time
wipe
to
it off.
go.
Wipe it off. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen bucks chasing does in January. I don't know if they're just like jacking around. That's January though, which is definitely still.
Hard horned and horny.
Yeah, I mean, up in where we're at Northeast, it's a little bit late at that time. Obviously, down in like Alabama, that shit happens through February, I think.
Yeah, and I don't get that shit either.
Why? Why does it happen into February? Why?
I mean,
Why?
I'm in Tennessee. One state below me, they're porking in February, but up here, it's still November. Fuck does that make sense?
Where's the line?
Where is the rut line and why is it there?
Mason Dixon.
Mason Dixon line. That line, below that, they're rutting in February. Yeah, it's all interesting stuff. And it's all stuff to think about as we get closer and closer to that rutting action. Wow.
Hot damn. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot.
Hot damn. Call the police and the fireman. Hoo-ha.
That's what the first doe's singing in the food plot. I'm too high. Call the police and the fireman.
Oh, boy. Well, we got a little action-packed week or so ahead of us. On Wednesday, when this is launching, I will be headed up to Wisconsin to join the XOP boys at Public Land Hunt Camp for a couple days, and then I'm going to reconvene with Dino back up north in North Dakota for 4 or 5 days as well. And then we'll be back in the homeland, Tennessee, Ohio, New York, for Scrape Week at the end of October, and we will all be reuniting again come early November for Rut Week, baby, up in New York.
It'll be here before we know it.
It's close. Couple weeks away. But what else we got, Dino?
What else we got?
You looking at the Moultries?
Yeah.
Anything good?
No. But there's deer moving.
It's crazy.
And right now, this is an hour before sunset. I mean, shit, a week ago, you couldn't buy anything.
Moving at
You
this
couldn't
time,
even buy anything all night.
Yeah, I know. It was weird. But it was warm. Now with the cold in here, whatever, yeah, it's far better for sure. There's people touring our apartment, and they're all looking at me like, what the fuck is this guy doing in there?
This is our podcast room.
This is the guy who's in here all the time, just making podcasts and
part of the amenities are a great place we have here.
Anywho, well, that's probably a good place to wrap up for the time being.
Yeah.
Y'all get out there and use that most recent information to your advantage. Don't be waiting on that rut, people. Don't be waiting on that rut. If you got picks and you got daylight picks right now, get in there.
Yes.
Get it done, and then take your buddy. It'll be fun. I promise.
Take your buddy or take someone new.
Get him in there.
Get them going.
Come on, let's make the army a little bit bigger. Come on.
The band of brothers.
But, yeah, the next time you guys hear us, we'll be sitting in B1 in North Dakota. And I'm looking forward to that, bro.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Trip number 2. Coming at you soon.
Do a big buck dance. Y'all, I hope you guys have a fantastic week. I hope you get some time to hunt this week or get out there and shoot your bow a little bit, because that just makes me happy, and hopefully it makes you happy. And we will see you right back here next Wednesday when we launch our next episode of Goose Chasing for yous.
God bless.
We love you.
Cold October winds.
Get in there.